Hello and welcome to another video. Today's gonna be another mystery wrapped book video. So I don't know if you can tell, but the organization of these books is different. So my fiance was convinced that I knew where all of the books were and that I was cheating. I wasn't, but it is what it is. So he took all the books off, rearranged them, put them back on the shelves. We also kind of talked about it and we put the red book at the beginning so it looks more like a progress bar, and I'll just put my next red book right next to it, if that makes any sense. So instead of having it like kind of spotty here and there of books that I've read and books that are unwrapped, they're just gonna be at the beginning and kind of a progress bar. This is also gonna change the order of the books on the shelf. So anyways, he left a book out. He picks this one. So this book is YA horror. I have the genre written on the back. I'm wondering if this is a bad idea to have the genres on the back. Like there's only a certain number of books I have in these genres. I think it'll be okay because after a while I'm gonna forget which books are on there, I think. So this is a hardcover. I think I only have maybe one or two YA horror hardcovers. I think this is Lake's Edge, but I'm not 100%. Let's just unwrap it. I think I was right. Yeah. So this is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. I got this in the November, October, I don't remember what month it was. It was like the last, I believe it was a fairy loot box, maybe Owl Crate, I can't remember. I'm actually really excited because I've been feeling in the spooky moods recently. Oh, September 2021 Owl Crate. Okay, well that's exciting. So I don't know too much what this book is about. I know that it is a haunted house. I believe there's a lake involved. I don't know anything else other than that. So I'm really excited to get to this. Also, it's purely coincidence that this one and the last mystery book video I did are YA horrors. I did not plan that. I do have a lot of YA horror though, like that I've been trying to get to. So I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, super excited. Looking forward to reading this. Okay, so I started Lake's Edge. I didn't make it very far into it. I'm on chapter 4, which is page 40. So like I really didn't make it too far into the book, but I'm enjoying it so much I wanted to do a little update. So going into this, the only thing I knew about this book was there was a haunted house. That's all I knew. And I'm glad because now I could be surprised because I feel like that's not what it's about at all. So it's about these two main characters, Violetta and her brother. I believe it's pronounced Ariane, I don't know. In my head, I say Ariane, so that's what I'm going with. So they were orphaned at a very young age and they were adopted by this caretaker who they call mother. So Ariane has these episodes, I guess, where these like shadows come out of him and he's almost like possessed, like his eyes go blank or something. I'm not exactly sure what's happening because all we're seeing is through Violetta's eyes, and Violetta is trying to convince herself and Ariane that's what's happening is dreams and it's not real life. So she's not exactly telling us everything that's happening detail by detail. Usually these shadows come at nighttime, so that's why Violetta can convince everybody that they're just dreams, they're not real. So they go to the village and the shadows happen during the daytime. They're seen by the Lord of like the village area, and the Lord is kind of described to be a monster. Like everybody calls him a monster because there's a rumor that he killed his whole family. He sees the shadows and he goes to Mother's house at the end of the day and he says that he wants to take Ariane back to his house. He lives in Lake's Edge. So Mother's like, sure, whatever, take him. And Violetta's like, he's not going anywhere without me. And that all happens in the first 40 pages. It's fast paced, it's very interesting, and I'm really loving like the magic aspects and just the dark vibes. It's very interesting and I'm really looking forward to where this book goes. Okay, so I just wanted to give a quick little update on Lake's Edge. I'm about halfway through the book, and I'm just now getting to the part where the plot of the story is really coming in and making sense. So last I said, the two siblings were going to this lord's manor, and they had no idea why. So we find out that there's like a blight on the land by Lake's Edge, and they've been trying all different kinds of magic to kind of get rid of the blight, to cure the land, to protect everybody. The blight very much is dark magic, and Ariane, who we believed his shadows were just nightmares, are actually uncontrolled magic, and the Lord wants to use his magic to help cure the land to get rid of the blight. Also, the Lord's name is Ronan. Rowan? Rowan. I'm not very good with names. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really a fun read, and it's definitely different from something that I've read before while having similar vibes to other stories I've read, if that makes sense. At the halfway point, the pacing is getting a little bit slower, so it's a little bit harder to keep the same pace that I had in the beginning. I'm still enjoying it for sure, and I can tell that it's about to pick up again soon. It's just I'm in a lull right now. So I'm at page 270 about this far into the book. book, and it's dragging. Like, it is so slow. I'm honestly having a hard time picking this up because it's so slow. So there's a lot of like little things happening between like really big intense scenes. So at page 270, there's been like 3 intense scenes. Each of those scenes take up maybe, let's say 5 to 10 pages. Let's be generous and say 10 pages for each of those intense scenes. So that's 30 pages out of 270 pages of intensity. Quick maths, 240 pages of boring, slow-paced nonsense. It hurts because I really love the writing style. The words used are lyrical and beautiful, and there's this like dark gothic vibe that's going on, but it just falls flat with nothing that's happening. At this point, I should know who the characters are, and I don't. They're very surface level characters. They're skin deep at best. Honestly, I don't even know what Rowan looks like, besides that he has scars and longish hair. I don't know what Violetta looks like. I don't know what Ariane looks like. I'm specifying their looks specifically because you should know at least what the characters look like, and I don't. Like, that's how much I don't know about these characters. I have now pushed this video back like 2 video slots because I just can't make myself read this book. I want to finish reading it. I don't want to DNF it. It's getting to the point, I don't know if anybody else felt this, but when I was in school and I had to read books that I didn't want to read, but I had to reach a certain page limit by the next day, it would like physically hurt to sit and read the book. And I'm getting to that point where it's like physically hurting to keep reading it. But I want to know what happens, and I really do care about these surface level characters somehow, and I really don't have that much left. Like, that's all I have left, and it shouldn't be hard. I should just sit here and finish reading it, and I would rather fold laundry. Like, I'm sitting here reading like 3 pages and then folding some laundry and then 3 more pages and folding more laundry, and like, that's embarrassing. Like, a book shouldn't make you want to do that. But I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna finish this, and hopefully the end is worth it. So I finally finished this book, and this book frustrated me so much that I just want to end the video here, even though I'm still wearing pajamas and my hair looks like this, but I just want to be done with this book so bad. I hated so much of this book. There's so much nonsense happening, and it I'm trying not to be dramatic about it, but I feel so passionate towards not liking this book, and I want to be done with it. So the last time I filmed was like probably 2 weeks ago, maybe longer, I don't even know. I put this book down and I read a couple different books in between, and every time I try to pick up this book again, I just couldn't. I even tried having people on Instagram yell at me to finish this book, and so I put this on Instagram, basically just asking people to pick what book I'm going to read next, and one of the options was finishing this book. The majority of people said just finish the book, and I literally sat there for 5 hours procrastinating even picking the book back up. Like, it just didn't want to read it. And then since then, every time I put this book down, I didn't want to pick it back up again. So here's why I hated it. I had a problem with the writing style. I didn't vibe with it. I had a problem with the characters. I had a problem with the pacing. Okay. Let's just start with the writing style and the pacing. So as I said before, the pacing is kind of all over the place. There's parts of intense scenes where it kind of speeds up a little bit, but the majority of it is very slow paced. And slow pacing is fine if it's interesting, but it wasn't. So I'm just like dragging through the book, trying to force myself to continue reading this while crawling at the pace of a snail. And the writing style just did not help. It was very flowery and was trying way too hard to be lyrical and descriptive and beautiful. In the beginning, I thought it was. Like, I was fooled. I fell for it. But as the book went on, it got repetitive, and the descriptions were just overused to the point where it's just annoying. Like, if I had to listen to one more thing being described as tasting like dead leaves and ash and bitter tea, like, bruh, find different adjectives. On top of that, the sentences were choppy and repetitive, and there's things where they would say stuff like, it was cold, 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 or like, it hurt and hurt and hurt. A lot of things repeated in threes, not just words, but like actual phrases, like my mother, my mother, my mother, like that. Like, I'm not taking it out of context or anything. Like, that was like a whole sentence. In the beginning, I enjoyed it because I like writing that's not very typical, and this was kind of like different and almost unique. I've read books similar to this, but it's not the norm. But it just got old really fast. Also, I understand that this is a debut novel and nobody's perfect on their first try. I understand that completely. However, I think this could have gone through a couple more layers of edits. Like, things were so repetitive and a lot of nothing was happening that I really think at least 50 pages could have been completely cut from the book and nothing would have been missing. Like, the storyline would still be perfectly intact. So moving on to the characters, I didn't like any of the characters. None of them were interesting. None of them were realistic. Violetta, the main character, was so incredibly annoying. So she was a martyr. Her entire personality is based on her being a martyr, but not in a good, fun way. Like, it was almost selfish the way that she would martyr herself and then just be like, I don't care what anybody says, I'm gonna do this because this is what I think is right to protect everybody. Like, girl, you need to chill. I can't. It was just too much. There was literally a line in here too that annoyed me so much, and I feel like it completely describes Violet as a character. Everyone at Lake's Edge, Clover and Florence and Rowan and Ariane, safe because of me. Like, girl, you need some kind of reality check. A lot of things happening could have been avoided if she would have acted as a team and not just gone rogue and done what she thinks is right. I'm trying not to be mean. I feel like I am being dramatic. The book really wasn't that bad, but it got frustrating the longer it took me to read it. That's enough complaining about Violetta as a character. Let's complain about the romance between Violetta and Rowan because it was non-existent. They really went from hating each other to like suddenly being in love, like that. Like, nothing happened and suddenly they were in love. Excuse me? Their romance didn't make any sense. On top of that, Rowan as a character didn't make any sense because he was incredibly understanding about everything. He knew exactly the right thing to say at all the time. And it's not believable for a person who doesn't interact with people and doesn't know how to interact with people and is like a 17-year-old boy. Like, no. No. On top of that, there was like a sex scene towards the end, and this is a YA fiction, and the characters are like 17. It made me wildly uncomfortable. Like, it does not need to be in the book at all. Okay, I'm done complaining about this. It's done, it's over, it's out of my mind. The only time I have to think about this book again is when I edit this video, and it's over, I'm done. Oh, I don't know if I said this already, but 2 stars. I would have given it 1 star, but I reserve 1 star for like wildly offensive books, and this didn't fit that category. So 2 stars, did not like it, did not enjoy it, will not be reading the second in the book. No. But again, this is all my opinion. Somebody else could completely love the book. There's plenty of 5-star reviews on Goodreads, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. I'm salty about this book. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.